Hello, my name is Aimee, and today I'm going to respond to a claim the NBA and NCAA rewrite the one and done rules to two or zero rules. So my opponent provides three supporting claims. First, the one and done rules within the college university are claiming limitations. Second, the one and done rules negatively impact the corporate striking players. Third, changing the rules, two or zero rules would be much better effective. And here's three responses that I made with his speech. First, most colleges do not let talented athletes fail their classes and put them on academic provisions. Second, going to the college is actually worth it for basketball players. Third, the more important way to solve the college basketball system is that encouraging players to graduate college and get 4-year degree. First of all, before I go into my response on each supporting claims, I want to start with my opponent's main claims. The NBA and NCAA should change their one and done rule. This claim is a claim of policy, not a claim of facts. It's basically suggesting the solutions of the problems, not about the problem itself. The reason why this is an issue of his speech is because when he put the claim as a policy claims, it can lead the direction of his arguments more towards to the solutions of the problems, not much about the proof, and one constitutes the others. So it would be better if he had the main claim as the one and done rules in NBA have a negative effect on the players or the college. In this case, he can easily focus on the cause and the effects on the reputation. Now, first, my responses on his first supporting claim is that most colleges do not let talented athletes fail their classes and put them on the academic reputation, academic probations. My opponent said most of players just go to the college for MBA so that they do not focusing on their studies and failing their classes. However, according to NCAA websites, they explain a lot of benefits of being college students athletics, like athletics, scholarships, additional tutoring systems, and Medicares. One of my friends in Carson Northridge actually do the athletic tours, and she's not only helping their math or essay skills, but they actually put all the schedules for their both studying and their athletic schedules too. So it's really helpful for them to be easier to be in the college and do their things. Second, my response on the second supporting claim is that going to the college is actually worth it and for basketball players. College degree is not a waste. This is actually good for their backup plans for their careers. In the website's National Public Radio, Bill Charber used the statistics from the NCAA website. In the college basketball field, only 1.2% of them draft to NBA. And even for these special people, average year of college is less than 5 years. This is really low percentage to put your everything in. Let's say you are really good and you are really lucky to get drafted in the NBA, but you didn't really do well on the teams. Then what are you going to do after your retirement? With the high school diplomas, you probably want to go back to school. Also, in my opponent's speech, he said the rule can impact corporate striking players who are good enough to be ready for NBA. I'm not sure what is a good enough player and what he used because it's unclear. And I guess, if his standards of good enough player is like Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, for this special case, it's 1 year removed from the high school. It's not really a problem for them. This is because they are going to draft anyways. and joint college basketball teams can be actually benefit for them, because then it's basically they're advertising their skills in the college basketball teams and be a #1 players in most of their basketball games. He also said they're getting, it can ruin their careers because of the hypothetical potential injury that ruin their careers. But this injury are not only limited or happens in the college basketball teams. When the level of the play is rising high school to college to professional teams, the likelihood of the injury increases. So it will be more dangerous if a player go to the NBA at the age of 18. NCAA announced in their website that more than 150,000 students have received $2.4 billion in athletic scholarships each year from their universities. And they also got the $75 million from the NCAA Student Assistance Fund. So they earn, even though they're going to poverty for striking poverty, they're suffering by their poverty, they have a lot of help from them and the organizations and the school. So, and one and done rules cannot be blamed by these college basketball systems.
All right, well, you label the advocates' claims and then you preview what your claims are going to be, and I'm not sure that you need to preview their claims separately. You're going to be given those responses as you get to the individual points. That's fine. I think you've got a good point about the argument being a policy-based claim, which suggests that you would be allowed to argue potential negative consequences of such a policy, which you don't really do. So I think that you've lost an opportunity on that. And then you kind of just give advice about how we could fix that problem, which is not really the purpose of the assignment. So I'm going to largely ignore that. When you talk about the first point about the colleges, you know, I'm not sure what your point here is. It seems to be that the colleges can put people on probation or they can do things to help the students. I'm not sure how that responds to the advocate's claim. I thought the advocate was arguing that the students don't really pay much attention because they're planning on being gone in a year, so it doesn't really, and the colleges don't do anything about it. How you address that issue, I'm not quite sure. The incentivizing the notion that people should go to school, I think, is probably a good response on that particular point. On the second point, you actually have some data that applies to that issue. You do mention on the first point that there are benefits for staying in school. One of the presses that I thought was missing from this argument is any information about how frequently the one and done behavior is engaged in, especially since you've got a statistic about how infrequent it is that people who play college basketball actually get drafted into the NBA. It seems to me like we're talking about a very small set of the population, and I'm not sure that changing the policy in order to affect the 2 or 3 people each year that might be able to make this leap makes a lot of sense. I think that there's probably a way to minimize that argument a little bit. The second point did try to minimize the argument with some statistical information and a suggestion that there is still a value for the students to go there, which is fine. I do appreciate your argument about good enough. I do think that you want to, kind of make the point that says, we're back in the same situation here. There probably aren't that many that are good enough to go right after 1 year of college into the NBA. There might be a whole bunch who think they are, but the advocate didn't really make an argument suggesting that all those who thought they were then forfeit all of their eligibility, they lose any scholarships that they have, and then they're out on their own and suffering. That would have been a good argument for the advocate to make, but since they didn't make that argument, I'm not sure why you have to make this particular argument yourself. The injury issue, I thought that was a reasonable press on that, and then you talk about scholarship stuff and the benefits, that's mostly out of time. All right, thank you.